morning, everybody. Welcome back. This is Lucian at Calvin Chen's Martial Arts Academy. This is our second class of the day. We had a Tai Chi class earlier. If you didn't have a chance to check that out, all of our stuff stays up online. It's all archived, so you can check it out at a later date. This class is all ages, beginner to intermediate Hung Kuen Kung Fu. We're going to do a series of fundamental warm-up exercises that we always do. One thing about our content is that we've been streaming full classes. So the class this morning for Tai Chi started at 9:30, ended at 11. It's a 1.5-hour Tai Chi class. This will be a 1-hour Kung Fu class. Then we'll have a half-hour advanced class. So in any case, we're going to do a series of warm-up exercises, a little bit of stretching, some punches, some kicks, and then the 5 stances, traditional Hung Kuen 5 stances drill that we do here at our school, and then Sifu will come in and he'll elaborate, go a little farther. So in any case, feet shoulder width, nice big hoop, turning the waist. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. Good. Reaching over. 1, 2, 3. Switch. 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 1, 2, and 3. Raising the hands. Stretch towards the floor. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Middle 1 time, we inhale, and through the nose, we exhale. Again. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Middle once. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. 1, 2, 3. To your right. 2, 3. To your left. 2, 3. Middle 1 time. We inhale and exhale. Hands on the waist. Rotation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. We switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. Crossing the hands, place them on the knees, bending the knees. We're going to make a gentle circle with the knees while keeping the feet flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. Switch hands, switch directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. Good. Hands on the waist. We're going to turn the head side to side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. Back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. Tilting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, and 2. Rotation. 1, all the way around, but extra gentle with your neck. 2, 3, if you're wondering, those popping sounds, all that little crunchy sounds is totally normal. 1, 2, 3. Good. Let's open up the feet, arms out, relax the body and the arms. We're going to turn the head and the waist will follow, so you kind of want to scan the room with your eyes as you go and try to look behind you to each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Crossing the fingers. Let's turn to the right. 1, 2, 3. We switch. 1, 2, 3. Try to keep your back straight. 1, 2, 3. And the spine vertical. 1, 2, and 3. Both feet flat. Straightening the right leg. And we stretch. Now, if you've been tuning in, you might notice that we do these same exercises over and over again in every class. Switch, and there's a reason for that. The method behind the madness is that you're trying to build kind of muscle memory from experience. So we're doing all of these things that have absolute benefit to what we're doing in either the Kung Fu or the Tai Chi class. And doing them repetitively every class helps to set up not only a routine and kind of an expectation, but also it kind of allows your body to start to acquire some of the movement, position, and posture, and the mobility that you're trying to get out of these exercises. Okay, let's stand up, turn to the right, bend at the waist. Good. Turn to your left, bend at the waist. To the middle. Let's bring the feet in. Toes out, elbows between the knees, hands together, push on the knees slightly so you get a little bit extra action of opening the hip. Okay, let's sit. Both feet together, the butterfly position. Now put the right leg out, stretch towards your right foot, keeping that leg straight. And we switch. Into the middle, we bounce, switch, and up. Very good. All right, so next we're going to do a horse stance. Excuse me. So our feet about 1.5 of your foot width apart, parallel, flat on the ground, hands at the sides, the body straight but relaxed. Most importantly to this ready position, eyes looking forward. We make fists, pull them up, bend the knees, heels out, heels out, and toes out. Your feet should be parallel, flat, the knees going out, the back straight, and the body relaxed. First thing we do is punch Ping Choi. It's a reverse punch or a flat punch. It turns over at the last second, kind of a drilling action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. Closing. 1, 2. So this is a beginner to intermediate class. As a reminder for all of you, when we do this, you'll notice we close all of these exercises the same way. This is an escape. Someone grabs, you bend your elbow, you use it like a lever, press down and break the grip. So there's a reason why we're doing this over and over again. Okay? So here we go. Low block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Closing. 1, 2. Middle block. We come across the body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. Closing. 1, 2. Lift to high block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. Closing. 1, 2. Sorry, the cord here is pulling a little. All right. Now we're going to do Limam Samsik, all three on the same arm. Low, middle, high. 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 Low, middle, and high. Closing. 1, 2. Low block with a punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. We close both arms. 1, 2. Middle block punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1 and 2. Closing both arms. 1, 2. High block punch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2. Closing. 1 and 2. Whoop, just hit my mic. All right, so now we're going to do Danji Kyosu. Pull the hands back. We're going to push out to the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Going low. 1. Notice the elbows are out, fingertips facing each other. The hands are about the width of your hip, which is also about the width of your shoulder. We pull back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Going high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Last set in front of you, shoulder width, shoulder height. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Thrust, flip, roll, press. Thrust, flip, roll, press. Thrust, flip, roll, and press. Closing. 1, 2. Closing our stance. 1, 2, 3, 4. We shake it out. Deep breathing, palms up, elbows down, elbows out. Make sure the hands don't just drop down. We lift from the top of the spine. Inhale. Expanding the chest, relax, and come down slowly with your breath. Again, palms up, elbows down, elbows out. Inhale, and exhale. And again, palms up, elbows out, elbows out. Inhale, and exhale. I messed that one up. All right, feet shoulder width, bending the knees slightly. We're going to go through a series of punches. We do these same punches every class. We're going to punch in and out. Okay, stop, switch, punch. Now in your own practice, you can do a couple hundred of each of these if you like, but just in the interest of time, we have a 1-hour class, so we're going to keep it fairly brief. Just trying to build in that action, make that natural to our experience. Okay, stop, to the side, right side, punch. Okay, stop, switch, punch. Okay, stop, both fists up, turning the waist. Hiwa choi, alternating punch. Make sure your other hand comes back up by your ear to protect as you go. Okay, stop. Bina choi, edge of the fist, we punch out. And let's switch, punch. Okay, Cheurng choi, cartwheel punch. One fist is going to follow over the other. Both fists stay on the center line, so you don't want to be out here. Okay, and you want the size of this circular punch. The fist of one arm lines up on the elbow of the other arm. That's going to determine the size, so you don't want to be too small and you don't want to be too big. Ready? Go. Bend your knees slightly. Kind of shock absorb, helps with balance. Okay, stop. Kwa choi, back of the fist, punch. Okay, switch, punch. Okay, philosophy behind a punch at our school here is a stone and a rope. This is a hard object. Everything else should be relaxed. Right? You notice boxers aren't typically bodybuilders. You don't need a lot of muscle to do this. Okay, stop. Lightly touching your left toe. Right toe should be facing 45. Bend the knee. This is a cat stance, ilgetma. And we switch. 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 Try to keep your weight on the back leg at all times. Switch. So when you switch feet, don't let the weight come forward. Switch. 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 And switch. Very good. Deep breathing. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. We definitely hope that you're enjoying all of the classes so far. If you're a student here, we hope that you're keeping up with your studies and hopefully still improving and learning at home. If you're new to our school and this is new content to you, we hope that you enjoy it. If you have any questions, please do feel free to kind of ask them in the comments section, whether it's on our website, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on YouTube. All of those formats have a place that you can just comment. And so whether you have a request or you have a question, if you put it there, right now I can't answer that obviously because I'm doing the warm-ups, but typically what happens in a class is Sifu's teaching the whole class and I'm running the streaming equipment in the background, and I do monitor all that stuff, and we're happy to answer your questions as we go. We love comments, so keep those coming. We've had some great interactions with some new friends all over the world, and this has been an awesome experience. Okay, so we're going to do left foot forward in a leaning stance, bending your left knee. Right leg is straight. Keep in mind I'm going mirror image to you, so for those of you saying he's a liar, his right foot's forward. Okay, you can put your left hand on top. You're going to punch, toe out. This opens up the hip. Lift the knee, kick with the toe pointed, step straight back, and reset. And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's switch. Again, you could do a couple hundred of these at home if you feel like it. It's just with the constraint of time, we're going to do 6 each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's switch. Going to kick with the right leg, same setup, but we're going to kick pushing out with the bottom of the foot, the heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good, let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, switch, straight leg kick. This is the only kick we have where the kicking leg, you're not going to bend your knee, you're going to keep that leg straight the whole time. We're going to swing it straight up and bring it right back to position. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good, let's switch. Kicking with the left leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, let's switch. Wong So Hoi, roundhouse or round kick. We're going to kick with the shin and the instep. Okay, you're going to lift the knee, turn the hip over, turn the waist. You don't have to put a crazy amount of power in this. If you try to kick too hard without having something to hit, sometimes you could throw your hip and injure yourself, or in the very least, lose your balance. So again, everything as relaxed as possible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, very good. Deep breathing. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Very good. So next we're going to do our traditional Hung Kuen or Hung Ga 5 stances drill. I know that Wushu has a 5 stances drill. This is not that one. So we're going to do this to 4 directions, even though since I'm not at the editing machine, the viewpoint is going to be this camera facing me now. I'm going to start with my back to you. Hopefully the mirrors will pick up some of what we're doing, but I'm also going to come this way, this way, this way, and this way. We'll kind of make a box. So you should have a bunch of different vantage points to see from. Again, if there's any questions in any of this, please put them in the comments. Even if I can't answer it right away when I get back to the streaming machine, I can hopefully answer the question then. Okay, so facing this way, we're going to make fists, raise them up and up, push out, drop the elbows, make fists, pull, open, push, pull, push, pull, push, lift, that's an elbow stroke, press, thrust out, press, and we close. Okay, right fist on top, bend the knees, step out, offset horse stance, that's a toe to heel. The whole purpose of this drill is to get us used to our footwork, our stances, and making the transitions from one to the next. This helps us greatly when we start to learn form moving forward. So we're going to draw the bow, Cheurng Kuen, sliding step with the front foot moving first, leaning stance, punch. Left hand underneath, I'm going to switch my feet just so I stay in frame, but you would step all the way through to a leaning stance. Pull your elbow back, elbow strike, and also remove. Turn your waist, punch. Left hand's here to protect the ribs. Toe out, big cross step, dragon whips tail. Ruling by me. Pivot out, corner back fist to the head, make a circle, chun. Step up, suspended, punch. Step straight back, cover. Leaning stance, high block and low block simultaneously. Left knee, left hand up, turn, drop, and chop. Step out, uppercut, and close. Right fist on top, step out, chun. Sliding step, punch. Left hand underneath, step all the way through, pull the elbow back, elbow strike, and remove, punch. Toe out, big cross step, dragon whips tail. Spin out, make sure you're still in that toe to heel position. Offset horse stance, corner back fist to the head. Make a circle, chun. Step up, suspended, punch. Step straight back, cover. Leaning stance, high block, low block. Left knee up, turn, drop and chop. Step up, uppercut, and close. Right fist on top. Step out, offset horse stance, chun. Sliding step, leaning stance, punch. Left hand underneath. I'm going to switch feet, but you would step all the way through. Pull the elbow back, punch. Toe out, big cross step, dragon whips tail. Spin out, corner back fist to the head, make a circle, chun. Step up, suspended, punch. Step straight back, cover. Leaning, high block, low block. Left knee up, chop. Uppercut, close. Final leg of this, offset horse stance, sliding step, punch. Left hand underneath, step all the way through, elbow, punch. Toe out, big cross step. When you're in your scissor stance, Nordema, you want to make sure that all your weight is off of your rear foot. Heels off the ground, but also you don't have weight on top of this. It's going to keep you from moving. So you're in the scissor stance, turn. Spin out, corner back fist to the head, make a circle, chun. Cat stance, punch. Step straight back, cover. High block, low block, left knee up, drop and chop, uppercut, and close. Good. Deep breathing. Again. And one more time. And I believe that Sifu's ready to come on in. Let's see where he's at. Hey, you awake, Sifu? All right. All right. So we did dancing.
Okay, everyone. So, last couple of classes we've been working on bits and pieces of the first, second form, and the third form. So let's pick up the third form a bit, so that if you're learning that, we can do some of that, and then we'll work on some of the components of the different forms, so we have something to drill on. Because a lot of times when we first learn a sequence, we think it's pure memory, and all you're interested in is finishing that sequence. But how do you improve that sequence, and how do you make it, as far as your posturing and imagery better? You have to actually extract those postures and build off of it. So I'm going to go right to the third form, because there's some people learning this, and we're here, right? 1, 2, 3, hop. 1, 2, 3. So this is your praying mantis form, and it's sequentially different from the forms that you've been learning, or even actually notice it's more linear, in the sense that we're moving just back and forth. 1, 2, here, we step up, grab and punch. 1, elbow up, 1, 2, 3, hook, 1, 2, punch, sweep, kick, jump and poke, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Uppercut. Sweep. Turn. 1, 2, 3. Hook. Back fist. Pull back. 1, 2, 3. Punch. 1, 2, 3. Okay, deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, so we can see that we have this position, double elbow, and when the hand crosses like this, we turn the body. You see, so that you're in this horse stance and you turn, then we adjust and punch. So this is your left punch. We go like this to turn in this direction, and then we're going to switch the hands. So this is this getting to this section of the form. All right, so from here, you're in a double elbow position, cross the hands, slide down the arm. So you're using the edge of the hand. This hand is actually attaching to your opponent's arm and slicing. So this action has to go together, right? So you're here, punch. Now my hands do this to set up in this direction. 1, 2, fold, 3. Drop the hand, you're going to do this. Okay, 1, 2. So that's how you maneuver. You notice the coordination in any of the forms that we do is building integration of body. So coordination is how you move your body with a sort of a relationship. The right and left has to work together, your legs have to work together, and then your body has to work together. So that's called upper-lower coordination. When you do this, when your hands move, your legs have to move, like when we walk or we move, your body actually has a synchronization that creates some type of balance. So equal opposite reaction, those are certain principles that they have even in in science or physics. So you have equal opposite as an idea. What is that? That's really balance and motion. So if I'm going to pull and I strike, I create an action and a force. So that's actually what we're doing when we punch and pull. So that gives you the idea that we have to integrate the body to be effective. It's anything that we're doing really requires that. So when we're here, we have a transition that takes us from here to here, and then balance the movement. Now, if I was going to strike and I was sitting backwards, I would be out of position. So in the sense, when I go like this, my body has to actually come forward a little bit. Otherwise, I'm going to end up going backwards. So that's how your body would compensate for the forces acting in the direction. So your body would shift. And then when I'm here and I turn, that kind of gets me in that position. Then I have to turn the body, right? So I'm here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. So you see, like I was saying, what do you have to practice when you're learning your form is those pieces in the form when you get to it. So because this might be something you're not too familiar with, so you have to practice this over and over again until you build at least the understanding of how that happens. Then once you finish this movement, you have to get over there. So how do you do that? You have to first go like this, 1, 2. Now when you learn it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's very broken down. It's not very smooth, or it's not even, it doesn't even look very graceful or integrated. So when the hands actually start to connect, so when I strike here, you notice this is striking just like this. When this goes like this, I'm turning. You can imagine if something comes here, I'm turning. If I capture that arm and I take it, I sweep like that. If my hand goes like this, something comes here, I'm actually yielding, turning, and I turn and I turn if I do it again and again. So the more you do it over and over again, 1, 2, 3, it doesn't matter how many times you do it, you have to build that program into your system, because the brain is just like a computer. It's building this file of movement. So while I'm here, and I do this, and I do this, I do this over and over again, eventually your body gets smoother and more coordinated. Now there's change up, because when my hand is here, and I do this, then that becomes a transition as you have to practice to improve on the skill. So skill is what really Kung Fu is. Kung Fu, the term actually means skill and work, hard work and skill. So what does hard work mean? You have to do it over and over again and work at it. And then skill becomes the result of that practice. So when we're here, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this, if you look at that, you say, well, that's like a rewinding of replaying that same movement over and over again. When you see that movement, it looks like there's no difference. If I did it different every single time, then my skill level wouldn't be good enough to teach. And because if I did it different every time, that would confuse you as a student or even as someone as a spectator watching this. So you would see that there's what we call a consistency of the movement. So consistency is really important, because part of consistency is accuracy of movement, and the timing becomes precise. Precision, timing, accuracy of movement all leads into what we classify as a skill level. So learning a sequence doesn't really build skill. What that develops is your memory. So you have to differentiate between what skill level memory and a lot of things that you've taken in over time. So all of that becomes part of memory, all right? So skill level is the next stage beyond that. So when you first sign up, why is someone that's new, as a beginner, after 8 weeks or a month, you're still at that novice stage, and then after a year, you're still progressing on the skill side of your training. The memory side of it, evolves as well, because you're learning new things sequentially. So when we're doing these movements, understand that the only way to actually develop the movement is to practice that. And then as you progress, then you see, well, the hands go into a position, and I sink into the stance. Now that becomes another level of integration. When my hand is like this, the idea is that the hands have to go opposite. So the timing, when my foot goes like this, there's a precise timing in where this hand is going and where that foot is going directionally. So we're mapping out the movement as a sequence, but the individual component of that movement really has to do with your musculature and the programming of the sequence in the order in your brain, because your brain says, okay, this needs to happen. This needs to happen as an understanding that the body has to work like that. But believe it or not, when there's balance in movement, it becomes natural, because that's a natural phenomenon in nature. Everything has to have a certain amount of balance. When we do our movements, it has to, level off and compensate for what's happening between the two sides. And that's really what one of the big benefits are, because as an individual with, coordination and the body language that you develop actually transform into how you can express yourself, not only on the physical level, but also the emotional attachment to what you're doing and what you're trying to get across to your audience. So that's a valuable tool, especially for kids that's developing, and it's also helpful for actually anyone, because how do you get a message across when you're trying to teach something? So you have to have a format of a way of doing it. So this is a skill that's developed and learned, but when you're learning this at the first level, you don't realize what's actually involved. But between this and this is really, now, how do you get from here to here? Because we already have done this. We know that posture. This is this posture. So if you have trouble with the legs, you'd have to practice the hands like this, right? So I know some of the, the people that do a lot of the jazz or modern dance and so they I see you have a movement like this. That's just reversing the ball, right? So we call it reversing the ball. It's something that a lot of people that do some of the different types of dance will have that movement. So that's really coordination. It shows up in different forms. In martial arts, we have functionality, there's usefulness in this action. Okay, so if you just do this, so you're moving your limbs, however you move them, there's an agility, there's a coordination. So that's, different ways of approaching it. Whereas when we use a movement like that, we have a transition from side to side, and because we're doing this is interception, this is grabbing, and what you do with the hand as you make your maneuver, or you change from this horizontal to this position, there's a transition that becomes part of this. So by watching and seeing what happens in the movement, you can see that the joints in your body are what you're manipulating. We only have these joints to do these movements. But yet, with these combinations of joints in different planes of motion, like whether it's in the front or to the side or to the corner, all those combinations vary, and it makes all these movements so interesting because in order to get from one space to another direction, you have to actually train your body to become very intelligent in order to do that. So, that's one of the skills that you develop in martial arts, because it's very specific in the way we develop it by practicing these movements, and it's very interesting that as we learn the movements, we develop an analytical skill with the movement to realize that there's actually some movement that's being used functionally. Okay, so functionality is something that we have to take these movements to another stage of understanding, and that's why, we learn to use these movements, and we work with a partner. So when you work with a partner, what do you develop? You develop the idea of the technique, but then you have to develop a feeling of it, because when you first, even doing a dragon claw or a mantis position, your first experience with that is you don't know what it's doing or what it feels like when you first connect with an external additional force. Because meanwhile, all we've been doing is practicing with our own space and our own movement, not really having the experience of the feeling within the movement. But when you have something that ends up here, your first reaction becomes rigidity. Your body kind of locks up and freezes because it doesn't know what to do beyond that. So that's, learning to apply the technique is kind of a experience and a give and take of what has to happen. Now this movement is fairly complex, so that's not where you would go with the movement. That's something you have to practice with until it gets part of your system. Something like this is probably more direct and easier to do, because you can figure you grab someone's hand and you slice down like this, and that's the technique. This might be something easier to do, because when you block and strike, you can see that there's an interpretation of that movement much easier to do. Now, when you do this, and you fold your elbow and grab, you're going to, in the first line of that experience is, well, you not only have to do this, and you step up, and this hand goes here, so you have all these things happen. It's going to be a little confusing. But the first thing that happens is when you get someone grabbing your arm and you want to move, your first thing is to resist. So you don't know how to use your strength. But the reality is, when someone grabs here, you have to release your joints in order to fold and then create what I call the mechanical advantage, or the advantage position for you to go from here to here. Because if you look at this movement, if I fold like this, which is really bending of the elbow. When I fold like this and I drop my elbow and I turn, I created a point of attachment where it is going to pivot off of. So if I'm like this, now this is folding. When I change, you see that the direction of movement has changed. And that takes the arm, or whatever you attach to, and it would be typically an arm, you would do this. Now, because I changed directions here, so what ends up happening? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, that's actually multi-dimensional change dimensionally and creating the mechanical advantage of my position, which is actually not very mobile because my arm is overextended. Because I threw a punch and someone grabs, my first reaction is to release the tension in the joints and move the body and then turn. Now once you turn, you grab, it allows you to do this. So what you do this in the movement and you end up here. So you can see that when the hand does this, it's just similar to doing this. So what's the takeaway from this is that when we do this, and we do this, and we do this, and we do this, that's creating this circular movement. So in most of the Chinese martial arts, or the Chinese systems, you have circular movements. Circular movements not because, movements are just round. It has mechanical advantages in your transition because we have joints that are connected, and the only way you can move these joints is in a rotational action. Even though we think of linear as being straight, you can't really do a straight movement without manipulating these joints because it just can't happen. It doesn't go from point A to point B without all of this moving. So that's really what body mechanics is. So learning Kung Fu really teaches you tremendous body mechanics based on how you maneuver your joints. And the mantis, because it's soft, it's actually a pretty good form to develop the softness of the movement without going to something as soft as Tai Chi or the ideas of Tai Chi. So it's a blend. It's just a way of capitalizing on a training strategy within this specific form. Okay, so when we're here and we kick, one of the things that we don't realize when we kick is that we try to put too much power in the kick. The kick is actually just an extension of your shin bone, and just like this is an extension of your forearm. So the knee and the elbow kind of have the same relationship, just like your shoulder and your hip. So when you kick, you really don't need to do more than let it out and let it come back. Okay? So when you kick and you switch feet, that's all you're doing is a jump kick. But in this form, when we kick, we want to distract, kick, and do this. So you can jump and do it, or you're here, you can just do this. Because you poke toward the eye, someone's going to go like this. You could have so to distract the person by going, and then usually if something goes to the eye, you blink. So the point that you blink is the time you would kick. So that's kind of a distraction, okay? So if your hand is out here, what's a natural response? Is to drop the elbow. So dropping the elbow is sinking the elbow, so that's how you protect here. Because if you're going like this, you're exposed here. If I go like this, I'm exposed here, so I have to bring my hand down. So if I'm like this, my hand comes down and it comes back. So this movement is really a movement that's going from the front to the back, and back to the front. So this is back to the front, right? So this is back to the front, front to the back. So this is just another dimension of movement. It's on the flat, the horizontal direction. So you imagine if I'm here, okay, my hand can sink, my hand is here, my hand can sink. So I go like this. I move back, right? So you can imagine something coming toward you. So this is what visualization is. You have to imagine what's happening within the movement. So when you build your technique inside the form, it has some functionality and motion. So my hand is here, and I slow it down, I turn like this, and then I slice. So that's what you're doing. You're going like this, right? Okay, so how do the two sides work together? When I went like this and I went like this, what is the purpose of the two sides working together? Because if you were to deflect something like this, just looking at it, you're deflecting. Well, if I deflect it, I can catch it here, right? So you just caught something deflected and I caught it here. Well, if you captured it here and you strike, you created this equal opposite action where you pull down and you strike. One, here's here. So between here and here is where the interaction has to happen. So is that only in the praying method? That whole idea of connect and interact and attach is really in every time you move your hands in a defensive mechanism. So if I'm here and I'm here, that swapping of sides is what you're actually doing. So do you have that every time there's an exchange? Boom, boom. So if I punch and I grab, and I punch and I grab, so this actually is essentially the same thing that you're doing. So when you punch in your drills, you're not just practicing punch and punch, you're practicing redrawing, retracting, and developing that relationship between the two sides. Okay, so that gives you an idea. When you block, and there's your circular movement, whether it's mantis or dragon, whatever, this is really the fundamental idea of using a middle block. And why a middle block? Because, what's in this area? It's your chest, it's the front of your body and the back of your. Inside of that are all your vital organs. So that's why people protect that area. The upper body is your brain that's vital as well. But most people, for some reason, want to protect this area, mainly because that's where it's all happening, and that's where the biggest part of your body is. So you want to protect that side of it. So most of your movements are going to be in here. So those is what we call the center gate. So what's the center gate? That's the area in the body where you have to defend, whether it's this way or that way. So look at the movements that you have just from a horse stance. We have this, right? These are middle blocks. So where did you see? You say as a beginner, I never saw that before. Well, you did this. You did this. So there's your middle block. So this goes from here to here. You have this in the salute. So that goes from here to here. So if I did this and I went like this, and I did this and I went like this, there's actually your middle area. So that's just two circles. That's just two circles. And if you get to the tiger crane form, that's called cat wipes its face. So all you have to do is make this circle, right? The better you make that circle, the better that movement will be. So where is that? That's the dragon with a dimensional change from the torso. Here's the mantis, dimensional change in the body. So what creates the posture and the dimensional changes is how your torso and your legs work in conjunction with the hands. So if I move, the body is really part of what creates the total imagery of that movement. So that's what you have to focus on, not the sequential part of it. The sequential part of it is good for learning and housing all of that as the first stage of your learning. But once you've learned that first or second form, or the fifth or eighth form, or whichever one it is, you have to focus on your body mechanics. How does the body move, and how important is the application of that technique? So while we have this, we have all these different ways of grabbing and striking, the most important fundamentally is your circle here, okay? So we have these circles, whether it's Tai Chi, we have all of these circles. When we get to the fourth form, we have all these circles. So what do you see as a commonality in all of these movements? It's that circle. So that circle, you have to really dial that circle in for your center line movements to be effective. And when you practice these movements, that's the most important. Then you work your body, your stance. Why does the stance come into play? When we do the suspended horse or we do the leading stance, that comes into play because when we're here, if you just did this, it doesn't look right. It's not functional. When you're here and you do this, now you have your stance. When we're here, we don't have a horse stance, then we don't have this. Okay? If we don't have a cat stance, then we don't have this. Okay, so if you're doing this, that's the agility of your foot. How do you switch from here to here? That's something that you have to actually get control of. Because if you're imbalanced and you're unstable when you're going through the movements, you're never going to be able to be effective with the technique because you can't even stand on your own. So all of these things is building from the ground up, fundamentally how your body should be moving. Now, most of us brought into the world, we don't really understand what we're doing as far as movement. We just kind of get up and start to move around. Well, this is a great way to refine your movement and learn body language, body mechanics, all the stuff that's involved in expressing who you are, relating it to movement. So it's a great experience, and then if you like it, because not everybody wants to learn in this way. Some people are visual, some people are purely theoretical in a text version. But the thing is, as we get older, we have this thing called age-related degeneration. If you don't build some kind of motor skill when you're young and lead into midlife and then to the elderly level stage in life, you don't build this network of movement, then your deterioration is going to be much, much greater. And I know that from teaching children from 5 years old to 85, realizing at different stages of life, people actually either degenerate in certain ways or they try to learn it at a late stage in life, and it's very hard to go through all the stuff that took so long to develop at the final stages. So movement is very important. I call movement as essential to life. A lot of the kids can't relate to it, but if you bring it up now to understand that we don't just do a movement simply to do a movement, we're doing it to build the way the body understands movement to be. Okay, so this, or this are really, different versions of the same concept of movement in that third form. Now, when we're going through a lot of these techniques, in the different styles, you have to see that in the northern styles we have this, in the southern styles we have this, and the circular movements that we build here is consistently the same. Say you're doing northern style and we have the movement that goes like this. This still has to pass through your center. So in the northern systems we do this, right? So you still have to pass through center. It's a little more elongated, but the idea of the hand going like this, the hand going like this, the hand going like this, it's still the same. How you create these actions in space is how you direct your limbs. So this is, what I want you to get out of this specific class, to realize that we have these areas in the body that we reference, whether it's a high movement, like in this case high, or elbow to vertical, the horizontal. These actions are pretty consistent in any style that we do, whether it's Hunga, praying mantis, Tai Chi. We have direction of movement. That's really what's, the most important part of taking it. So you have front to back, right? Front to back, up and down, right? Right to left or left to right, okay? So left to right. So this is left to right, up and down. So we have left to right, up. So those are just variations of the same movement. When we're here, this actually is a dimensional change that comes from, you can't do that without moving your body. You can't do that without folding and unfolding your elbow. So there's a reason why we have 3 joints here and 3 joints here. So because if we only have 2, it's a lot harder to do some of these actions. So some of these actions, whether it's climbing, whether it's mountain climbing trees or whatever, you have to, or even picking fruit or carrying things, you need these 3 joints in order do that. In fact, most of the mammals have these number of joints because we all move practically the same way, and we use that same musculature. So anyways, Lucian, what time? We got another minute? So that's what I wanted to cover, and I just used the third form as a reference for you to understand how it carries through to anything else that we do. About 15 minutes I'm going to be doing the Hung advance and so forth, and I'll probably stay along the same topic mainly because it's something that should be understood throughout your practice and sort of heighten your understanding on this level. All right, I'll see you in a little while.